Today we're going to dive into some New Orleans flavors and we are going to make a creamy Cajun shrimp and andouille pasta. You're going to need to try this. So I really haven't dove much into the Cajun world on this channel, and I'm just going to use a basic Cajun seasoning. These are all kind of the same thing, so if you want to make it yourself, it's basically paprika, garlic powder, onion powder, salt, pepper, a few other things. And we're going to quickly just marinate our shrimp in this. If you want to make your own seasoning, there's tons of recipes online, but I do think these pre-made ones work really well. And we're just going to cover the shrimp in these and let them sit for about 15 or 20 minutes just to really absorb these flavors. Up next, we're going to use a variation of the Holy Trinity, and we're going to use green pepper here, and we're also, shortly as you'll see, going to use some red onion. We're just going to come in and cut the cheeks off of this bell pepper, leave as much of that white rind behind as you can, and now we're going to cut it lengthwise and then create a nice small dice with this. It's not going to cook for a large amount of time, so you will have a little bit of crunch, but you want to cut it as small as possible to really help with the cooking, and then push that off to the side, and now we're going to do the same nice thin dice here of a red onion. You could probably also use a shallot if you want. From what I've seen, a lot of New Orleans cooking really likes red onion versus a white or Spanish Vidalia or a sweet onion, so that's why I went with this. And once I get that fully chopped up, I'm just going to mix that in with the celery mix, and now we're ready to move on to the next step, which is the sausage. This is Cajun style andouille. If you can't find that, any kind of smoked sausage will probably give you similar results, but you should be able to find this brand in most supermarkets. And now we're just going to cut it up into also somewhat of a small dice. I want it to be very bite-sized. The shrimp are already going to be large pieces, so getting this as small as possible will help it just kind of fit into the overall sauce and flavors. Now the first step in the cooking process will be to sear off the shrimp. I'm going to do this all in my cast iron here. I'm going to put the shrimp in at a fairly low temperature because I do not want to burn the seasoning. This seasoning is the flavor that's going to last the whole course of this recipe, so you need these to not burn right now. If you burn it, it's just going to taint everything. So I'm going to move these off, and as you can see, just flipping them, letting them get about 80% cooked, and then what we're going to do is just start to pull these out. I'm going to put them off to the side, and we will reheat them in the sauce at the very end, but you want to pull them before they're fully cooked because you don't want them rubbery, and before that seasoning starts to burn. Now, right on top of all that goodness that you just cooked, we're going to add in that bell pepper and onion mix, and we're just going to let that do its thing for a few minutes. Let it start to become a little bit translucent, but you still want some of that bite. I also have these frozen garlic cubes. It's just easier at the moment than chopping up a whole bunch of garlic, and the flavor is pretty good, so don't knock me for these. I'm going to throw in 3, which is equal to 3 cloves of garlic, and let that just kind of come together for a minute or two, and now we're going to add in that andouille. The andouille is fully cooked. We're just heating it up at this point. If you get a little bit of browning on it, that's totally fine, but try to make sure you're not burning everything else. And just let that kind of come together for 2 or 3 minutes. In total, you've cooked all of these ingredients for about 5 minutes. And now we're going to add in a tiny bit of tomato paste. This is maybe a teaspoon. Very little. Mix that together. Let it become nice and rust colored like we always do with our tomato paste. And now we can go ahead and add the one strange ingredient, but I'm going to add a little bit of white wine here. I think the acidity will cut through the creaminess at the very end, and it will kind of just help deglaze a little bit and just bring all these flavors together. You do not need to do this. I don't see other people do this when they make Cajun pasta, at least on YouTube. Maybe traditionally they do. But once that kind of cooks out and it becomes a little thicker and more beautiful, we're going to add in half a cup of cream and let those flavors kind of work together. This is the basis of the entire sauce. So once we mix that together, we're going to start cooking our pasta. The sauce should cook in that remaining time. I'm just going to use a rigatoni and a mezzo rigatoni. This is 2 boxes that I need to just finish, so I'm mixing them together because they have the same cooking time. But use whatever you want. I do think a pasta like rigatoni works best, but just let that sauce cook for a good probably 10 minutes while that pasta cooks. At the halfway point now, we're going to add in a little bit of parm, and we're going to start to mix that together and allow this to become a little bit thicker. You can see we're not cooking it too hard. We want little bubbles forming. We're not cooking this on blast and really trying to reduce it. It will naturally thicken. That's all we're looking for right there. Very small bubbles, and keep it moving. Don't let it burn because the spices can still burn at this point. That is looking real good. I'm going to add a little bit of parsley for some extra flavor and freshness. You do not need to do that, but just mix in 2 little pinches, and it will really bring this to the next level. After another minute or two, you can see it's really thickened up beautifully, so I'm going to throw those shrimp back in and let them start to reheat in this sauce. For the last maybe 1 to 2 minutes, that pasta is almost ready. You're not trying to hard cook these shrimp again, you just want them to come up to temperature. And now let's start to add that pasta in. Just grab it, throw it in, let the water come with it. It will really help thicken up this sauce beautifully. Starchy pasta water is always your friend. Give it a little mix and let those flavors come together right now. Try not to throw pasta out of the pan like I do. Probably should have used a larger pan. But add a little bit of cheese, a little bit of that pasta water, and now start to turn this into a beautiful sauce like any other pasta recipe we do. Mix it, allow it to move, bring it to a little bit of a thinner position using that pasta water, and then thicken it back up together. It'll also cook that noodle the last little bit because it's probably 1 or 2 minutes short of al dente. But look at that. That's absolutely beautiful. Here it is when it's done. You can see all those ingredients are melded together perfectly. The shrimp are not overcooked. All the other ingredients have kind of worked their way into the noodles. But let's plate this up and see how great this tastes. I accidentally also filmed this in slow motion, so that's why it looks so slow. But look at how beautiful that looks. You can see all those ingredients very well incorporated. We're going to hit it with a little bit of parsley, a little bit more cheese. But everything here has come together great. The sauce is coating those noodles, a little extra olive oil. And now the most important thing is we got to dive in and see what this tastes like. I'm going to try to get a good bite here of the noodle, the shrimp, and the andouille just to try to get a little bit of all those flavors. And they really, really work together nicely. You get kind of a sweetness from the shrimp and the creaminess. There's a little bit of acidity cutting through from the wine. You get the smokiness from the andouille, and then you get some freshness from the veggies and that parsley right over the top. This is a really interesting dish. If you're looking for a pasta that's different, you haven't tried before, I definitely recommend giving this one a go.